Welcome to Table Talk. I'm Carol.
And I'm Castle.
So today's Friday. It's my favorite day
of the week.
So to be honest, I haven't seen her in the office very often for the past week. So please tell us, what have you been up to?
Recently, it's just like, I think I haven't been in the office for like 2 days because I was out shooting some really cool projects. Just it was specifically a Malaysian restaurant down in Lower East Side to talk about the story behind the Malaysian culture and their coffee shop culture. So that was really fun. Sometimes it's nice to get out of the studio and just go and talk to people and just be out there.
Yeah, I know that you guys also did a really interesting interview.
Yes,
like
on the streets of Flushing.
People
yes,
on the street. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. Like, what did you guys do?
Oh, well, so it's like a street interview about a recent like viral music video on the Chinese social media, like a messaging media called WeChat. It's like how this music video was featuring, I think, like 12 like really pretty and slim and slender girls talking about how you shouldn't eat like donuts or like those high calorie stuff like boba milk tea. So like we're just asking street people like, hey, what do you think about this? What's your view upon this message? Like, do you think it's negative or positive and things like that?
I see. So what's your personal view about it?
I think it's cool. The girls are pretty, but again, like, if you want to drink some boba tea, just go ahead, you know what I'm saying? But of course, not a lot. There's a balance to everything. So I'm not a fan of boba tea. Like, I'm okay with it, but
how can you not be a fan?
I don't know. I know. But it's like, it's nice, but I feel stuffed. Like, I love boba, but they say that if you eat too much boba, like your body can digest it or something. I don't know if it's the science or What about yours?
You are talking about bubble tea or
about your week?
Okay, I was hoping that you would ask. My week has been in the office.
Yeah, she does like 2 shows a day, which is like amazing. Like, man, the knowledge is crazy.
I try to talk about technology and try to talk about sport,
which is something that you like.
I do. Yeah, so for this week in the technology world, lots is happening about Google. I don't know if you guys noticed, Google has been tracking you. So like, anywhere you go, Google kind of knows, even though you turn it off. So it's something you probably want to look into. In terms of sports, the Asia game is coming up. So if you're Asian, you might want to pay some attention to the game in Asia. So It's been a pretty eventful day so far in the office, and for you, it's been a very eventful week.
Yes, that's right.
And today we're going to talk about this movie that's been in my Instagram feed every single day.
I know. I think also because the people that we follow as Asians, we are not American Asians, but as Asians, you follow like, you look up to Asian people, and it's just been blowing up my social media. Like, everyone is talking about Crazy Rich Asians. I just feel like if we don't talk about it today, I'm not even sure if I can call myself Asian anymore.
I wouldn't say that. I just think if you're Asian and you are in the Asian community in America, I think it'll be hard for you to not to even notice this movie.
Yeah, but there's so much to talk about this movie. There's so many aspects to it. But before that, let us watch a 28 seconds snippet of the trailer.
I chose to raise a family. For me, it was a privilege. But for you, you may think it's old-fashioned.
Don't you want Nick to be happy?
I know you're not what Nick needs.
She's like trying to play a game of chicken with me, thinking I'm gonna swerve like a chicken.
But you can't swerve. You gonna roll up and be like,
bok bok, bitch.
Okay, maybe like not as aggressive.
I met a girl, I fell in love, and I want to marry her.
You're Nicholas Young. You're untouchable. But Rachel's not.
I chose to raise a family. For me, it was a privilege.
That looks fun. I have to be honest, I haven't watched the movie.
Me too. Like, I wanted to talk about it after the movie, but I'm like, hey, news can't wait any longer, so let's just talk about it. So for those of you who haven't watched the movie yet, don't worry, we are not gonna spill the beans because
we don't know any better than you.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a very highly anticipated movie with a lot of Hollywood buzz. The story follows a native New Yorker to Singapore to meet her boyfriend Nick Young's family, who turned out to be one of the country's most eligible bachelor coming from an extremely wealthy family. And that's all the drama began.
So this movie is actually based out of the book by Kevin Kwan and it's directed by John M. Chu, which he happens to be the director of Now You See Me and Step Up to the I Love. I'm not sure if you watched the movie Now You See Me. No. Okay, but Step Up, yeah, the dancing video. He's the director of that too, and so it's just
yes.
So it's just a very historical moment because it's the first movie in 25 years featuring an all Asian and an Asian American cast. So the last movie was Joy Luck Club back in 1993.
I know Kessyl is pretending that she knows this movie.
I do not. Definitely, I do not.
When the movie was out, I don't think you were even born.
But do you know about this movie? No, right?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
I do. I'm a little
that.
older than you.
Yes.
But I was not in America at the time. So I guess for me, coming from Taiwan, I knew the movie was a big deal. Though I don't know how much of an impact it has on, I guess, the local Asian American community. But growing up, after I moved to North America, I realized how big of a deal it was. And I don't know if you watched the movie. I did.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, so it's about I'm sure you would click with a lot of Asian Americans in the States or like just not in Asia, I guess, not in your quote unquote home country, because you always feel like outsider and everyone has different stories as immigrants. So after I moved here, I kind of understand why a lot of people would, it would just echo with a lot of people. So yeah, that movie was a big deal. But this movie, it's, I guess for us, it can be a bigger deal because for Joy Luck Club, it was a big deal. It was a Hollywood production, but it was still within the
there's still like some like white actors, right? So this particularly is like, as you can look at the picture, it's just mostly Asian American actors like Henry Golding, the main female actor, and Constance Wu, Aquafina, Ken Jeong, Gemma Chan, and Michelle Yeoh, and that is the director John M. Chu on the left. So
yeah,
I forgot what I want to say.
It's okay. I mean, just look at this beautiful photo. Yes, go ahead.
But it's just like, it's not just a movie, but it is a movement. Yeah, it's like I was so impressed when I was reading through the articles, and then there was actually like Asian American entrepreneurs who have been renting out theaters for special screenings of the movie, giving away free tickets to like Asian American youth and like the community to support this movie because it's a really big thing. Like, it's not just in the movie that's featuring all these Asian American actors, but actually behind the scenes too, like the screenwriters, the directors, like they have screenwriters, script writers, co-writers from like Malaysia,
Right. And also, I remember a few years ago when Fresh Off the Boat was out. I feel like it was kind of the same atmosphere, but this time it feels a little. How do you put it? It feels more solid. Because I guess when Fresh Off the Boat came out, everyone just excited because
it's a sitcom, and this is in the theaters.
Right. So I guess the buzz is a little different, and like the main actress Constance, she's also the main actress in Fresh Off the Boat. So when she first came out with Fresh Off the Boat, no one really knew who she was, right? But now she has already gained some fame and popularity. People knows her as one of the most, I guess, popular Asian American actress
with a leading role.
Right. So this time, there's, other than it being Asian, a story surrounded with Asian. It's got that much more of a star feel and buzz around it.
Yeah. And I feel as an Asian, I feel for this because it's like when I was young, like if I want to talk about my favorite movies, I would say off my mind right now is like maybe Fault in Our Stars. It's about a couple, like they're dying of cancer, but they are like American actors. So it's like I could relate to it because like I love the story. But it's like as an Asian, I'm not represented in the movie. So as Crazy Rich Asian is out now, it's just like, oh, I can relate to Constance Wu because she looks like me. It's just like, oh, I'm represented. So it's a different feeling, I guess. It's like, even though I might not like the movie, I'm gonna support it because I'm Asian.
Right. I think there's that aspect, and also the movie itself, I think, is just good. I already have friends who went to watch the movie, both in the theater and also in the private viewing. And if you just forget about the sake that we're supporting a movie for being Asian, the story itself is actually a little bit more than a rom-com, right? It has a lot of different layers. If you are just, I guess,
it goes deep into telling the story of each person, like if that's a Malaysian, if that's a Singaporean, if that's a Filipino, you know? It's not just like, oh, all Asians are the same, but you have Chinese from China, you have Chinese in Malaysia, you have Chinese in Indonesia, and they're all different.
And also, within the movie, there's also, I guess, the Asian American perspective, right? Which is the main perspective, which I guess I can kind of relate to. But it just like has a lot of different layers because Asian, they have like a lot of different background, a lot of different upbringings. But I think what brings everyone to the movie is, other than the movement, is that this is just a very entertaining movie.
Yeah, it's also like it's creating a buzz because actually there's a report earlier this year that found that 1.4 out of like 10 lead actors in film are people of color, and of the 174 theatrical films released in the year of 2016, Asian actors and actresses only make up 3.1% of the top film roles. This is why it's really a buzz, because this story centers around an Asian lead. Yeah. So we want to talk about, which is our title today, diversity versus representation. Like a little about what is the difference, because it seems like almost the same, but really it's not the same. So it's like I just want to say what is diversity? Diversity is being diverse, people of color. But when it comes to the entertainment industry, diversity is like including someone right there. Like, you have a black person, you have an Asian role, you have a white person playing the role, or you have a Hispanic role. But representation is sharing their stories and their dreams. As in, like, what is the dream of this Asian actor? What is the dream of this white actor? So it's what makes them different. It's not just putting them there to spice up the color or like.
Right, yeah.
And it's just not a token, like, but the heart and the love. And so I think this movie, as I'm gonna watch it next week, I'm super excited. But it's like there's like these three lead female, Constance Wu, Awkwafina, and Gemma Chan. So all of them is like they're different. So Constance Wu is the Asian American. So she's like, I grew up here, so I go back there, I'm different, you know?
Right.
And like Gemma Chan, who is like rich, I think she plays Henry Golding's cousin. So she's like the idea that she has this perfect marriage, perfect life, like with all the money. So it's like, that's the other side of the story. And Awkwafina being born in a rich family, I think. And she has another perspective. So it's all different.
Right. And let's not forget about Michelle Yeoh. She plays the mom.
Yeah.
I would watch the movie just for her. I mean, I've been watching her since I was little, and she's so versatile. She can do the kung fu stuff, and she's just like a role model, I think, for a lot of the up and coming Asian actor and actresses.
It's been such a long time since I last seen her in the movies, or I just didn't catch her. But it's like when I was young, because she's Malaysian, so I'm like, wow, Michelle Yeoh is like, wow, she's the age. She was like one of the first few actors who goes into Hollywood as an Asian figure.
Right.
So like having her on this like new movie, not hit. Pardon me. But new movie is like, wow, it's like, hey, that's OG, that's, you know, like super
OG.
cool. Yeah, OG. But because when you were saying just now, like how you were born in Taiwan and you grew up in
Vancouver.
Can I say that? Yeah, because you're like North America. I'm like, can I say you grew up in Canada? Yeah, exposing your. You grew up in Canada, so it's like you are like a dual citizen. So you have like a dual lady. I don't know. It's like you're half Taiwanese and half Canadian.
Yeah.
So for them, like Asian American actors, like Henry Golding, he's half Malaysian and half British. And for Constance Wu, she grew up in Virginia. So for you, it's like, what do you say about this? Like, because Henry Golding saying like when he was young, he kind of struggled with it, I think. And because you're 50% of this and that, and people actually like, there's actually backlash on the internet saying that he shouldn't be featured in this role because he's not full Asian. But he's like, when he was young, he knows and he owns his identity. So I'm not gonna let someone tell me who I am. I know I'm Asian.
Right.
So, but again, like he's not like shocked or surprised that people are coming at him. So he's just like, he's glad he get to start a conversation. So for you as half Taiwanese and half Canadian, I would say, what are your struggles? I don't know, like, do you ever have this struggle?
I guess because I moved to Canada when I was already 14, so I think I have a very solid base in terms of language and cultural identity as a Taiwanese. And then moving to Canada, at 14, you're like a teenager, right? So you try to fit in, you try to absorb as much as possible, and you try to decide who you are, right? And you thought you were full Taiwanese, and then after a few years, you went back to Taiwan, and you realize you're not really Taiwanese anymore.
Wow.
So it's like you have two homes, but you are not 100% in either of the places.
Yeah.
So it was a struggle, I guess, initially, because you just don't really know how to identify yourself and how to introduce yourself.
Wow.
Like when people ask you, oh, so like where are you from, or like where's your hometown?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, well, I'm based in New York, but if you want to talk about home, then I do want a short version, the long version, right? So I guess everyone has that sort of struggle. Like people move around and you do different things at different stages of life. You have different identity, but I think at the end of the day, it's how where your families are, where your friends are, and you're just gonna have to be okay with you are not 100% of anything. This is,
if you go down to your DNA test and things like that.
Right, yeah, it's like, what is it, 21andMe or 24?
Yeah.
Whatever that thing is. Yeah, I'm very curious about that thing. I want to buy it and test it out. But I think in terms of your own identity, I think everyone, especially Asians in America, you do have that struggle. But you just realize that's everyone. No one's 100% something. You go into this melting pot and you become one of them. And you should own up to your differences, right? And it's cool to be different and have some sort of edge.
Yeah, it's just funny how Henry Golding here actually said he was not being white enough to be living in England without sort of being noticed and coming back to Asia and not being Asian enough.
Yeah. That's I can see that. Like being, like a double-edged sword. Like you can have the best of both worlds, but at the same time, it can also be a double-edged sword. Yeah.
So we're gonna talk a little about what each of this cast feel about this movie, and we talk about Henry Golding and what he felt and things like that. So Ken Jeong, you know who's Ken Jeong, right? He was in Hangover. Yes, I think I first know about him in Hangover. He's like super funny, but he was saying like he has never felt so culturally emotional about it before, like getting those Asian American voices heard. For him, it's like, it's not just like he was like a good friend with the director John Chu, and he's like, people are saying like, hey, Rachel, the lead role which Constance Wu is playing, should be white, and then he felt like, this is a little insensitive, and he was like friends with John Chu, and then he was like texting him like, hey, we should be united as brothers and sisters, like, man, just go all out, man. Like I saw a YouTube comment as well as like, you need Scarlett Johansson to boost up the movie or things like that, So I felt angry, like,
oh, that was an actual comment.
Yeah, but like for Ken Jeong, I think he has a white wife as well. So right, but it's like, man, I'm like, great job, John Chu. I'm not even like for going all the way, like just push through all this comments or like opinions and like feature.
Yeah, I think I can understand the comment. I mean, as offensive as it sounds, I guess you would just assume that because Asian is still a minority, right? So you want something mainstream to be in the movie to bring the mainstream viewership to your movie, right?
Right.
But I think as we progress as a society, as countries, as people, I think we are gradually becoming more and more curious about people who's not like you and things that you're not familiar with. So remember the movie Slumdog Millionaire from India? So like, it was like a really well-known Bollywood movie, right? And it's like a full, I shouldn't say full because I'm not sure 100%. Maybe I would say 99.9% Indian cast. But it was still a blockbuster because the movie itself is so interesting and the story is just very relating to a lot of people. So I think it's becoming a trend. It's definitely possible that you can have a full cast of Asian or Indian or whatever you want, as long as the story has a universal theme, is enticing. I don't see
like a rom-com is like very popular, right?
Yeah.
But back to what you say, like being Asians being minority, like I think that's true in America, but globally I think there's like 60% Asian.
You mean like population-wise?
Yeah. So it's like making this movie out is like you're representing 60% of the population, so it's super relatable. Like if you have never had Asian cast in like 25 years, like it's not like now is the time. It should have happened a long time ago, but finally it happened.
Yeah. So I'm excited to watch that.
And also as we are continue to discuss about what each cast feel about this, and Constance Wu, she said that because I think the book actually has a section where it says it goes into a deeper context about why this main character Rachel Chu, she said she has never dated Asian men beforehand, and fans loved the section. So when they were shooting this movie, I think they shot the part, but they were like contemplating if they should put it in the final product, but in the end they did not, because Constance Wu was like, hey, I think I'm uncomfortable saying lines like this, because for the first time in a long time they are lifting Asian men up, so they don't really want to cut them on the side, you know.
Right.
So, and the director was like, this is super great because you have a team of people in the back who understands this, and like you empower your actors and actresses to voice out when they feel like, hey, this is not right, or this, maybe we should leave this out, even though the director said we should. But then after some time and discussion, it wasn't included in the final version. So I think that's great.
Yeah, but I didn't know about that. But I think it could be. Yeah, it's maybe another episode we can talk about.
Okay. But it's more like what makes a great movie is like, the storyline and things like that, and talents, of course. But in this, again, as we have said again and again, it's like the characters look like me. Like when I watch a movie, the characters look like me. So that's what makes the movie really good. Making movies that connect with people.
Yeah. I mean, the super rich part, I'm not sure how relatable that is to me, but the Asian part, yes, I do feel relatable. And I do have friends who went to the movie and everyone's bawling in the theater.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like such an interesting rom-com, but I think, like we discussed before, it has so many layers, and you touch into how like Asian parents interact with their children, and I think a lot of values in Asian culture. So I'm very looking forward to.
I'm super excited. It's truly a watershed moment. I can't really speak it for the Asian Americans because I'm not one, but I believe this is history in the making, and I really can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to watch it next.
She's so excited. She can't talk anymore.
I can't wait to watch it next Tuesday. But I have a little tip, because you know why I say I'm watching it next Tuesday? Because for AMC theaters on Tuesdays it's $5 only.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, so don't come. You're gonna flood the cinema, but it's only $5, so like can totally catch it on Tuesday, and it's like for a cheaper price. I think it also applies to new movies, right?
Oh, does it?
It should.
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay. I watched a movie like last Tuesday. It was like $5. I'm sure this is too. So
for $5, yes.
That's all we have for today, I guess. Anything you want to add?
Go watch the movie.
And
for $5.
Yes. So AMC did not sponsor us, but I guess that's all the time we have for today. And for Table Talk, I'm Kessyl.
I'm Carol.
See you next time.
Bye.